Welcome to Programs in a Box. This is Citizen-Led Initiatives, and I'm Will Paddock, an MBA and Certified Sustainability Professional and a Project Director for the Model Forest Policy Program. Learn more about MFPP at www.mfpp.org. Today we're going to be talking about citizen-led initiatives, and hopefully you are a citizen that's looking to get involved in your community and helping a community prepare to be more resilient to climate change. If you're that kind of citizen, there's basically two ideas to this approach of a citizen-led initiative. One is a bottom-up approach, and this is what we're going to be talking about today. This is grassroots, citizen-led, a group of people that functions as a think tank, as opposed to a top-down initiative, which is government-led, involves mandates, and sort of a shared vision between the community and the government. So let's talk more about this bottom-up approach. Basically, the idea is that you're a citizen trying to gather support to help your community become more resilient to climate change. In order to do so, we're going to follow this cycle of gathering and recruiting support, working together as a team on your approach, building your case, defining your strategy, engaging local leaders, all the while working together under this defined issue. And I'll tell you, the key to success in this is the people, the quality of people that you involve and who you involve. And you've got to consider the end in the beginning. What exactly is it that you're working to do? And we'll talk a little bit more about that. So as I mentioned in the last slide, one of the keys is your people and how you go about recruiting and gathering support for this initiative. The key to this is thinking about a healthy cross-section of people that you can work with to accomplish your goal. This needs to be made up of a group of concerned citizens. You need to engage people from the business community. You're going to need community leaders, whether those are local officials, employees of the community, of the city, of the county, local state officials. And you're also going to need to engage the media because they're going to be a very important outlet for you to be able to reach the community and build consensus. In order to help you determine that cross-section, you got to consider the strengths of your community. Are you a business epicenter, like in New York City? Are you a tourism-based area, like Nashville or Boulder, Colorado? Are you a farming and agricultural community like the Midwest? Are you industry-specific, perhaps a Detroit? Are you a suburb or feeder city, like a Centerville, Ohio? Are you rural or are you urban? You need to think about what your community offers, and that's going to help you drive who this cross-section of people are and who the community leaders are within your community. So once you've considered the strength of your community, think about your community's personality. Is it a conservative region like the Southeast? Progressive like the Northwest? Cutting edge like big cities like Austin, New York? Or is it more of a regressive community, something where industry has been leaving? I think the Midwest is an area that is somewhat in a period of regression. This is an important criteria. And beyond your community's strengths and your community's personality, think about how decisions are made in your community. If there's an issue on the table, is it the citizens that push it through to create awareness and create motivation? Or is it the government that just instantly makes decisions and moves forward accordingly? Another step in this process is to determine who your community leaders are. Build yourself a list of these 5 categories of political groups, business groups, citizens, other groups like nonprofits, clubs, and educations, and media outlets. This will be such a core list for you as we move forward. And once you've gone through this process of profiling your community, figuring out its strengths, its personality, the makeup of your community leaders, think about what exactly it is that you're trying to do. Are you a city that has transitioned in the last so many years into a period of attraction and growth? Are you an area that is trying to clean up and restore its community image? I think of Chattanooga, who was once the nation's dirtiest city. Are you somewhere like Jacksonville that's trying to protect itself against worst-case scenarios of climate change and ocean sea levels rising and wiping out the entire city? Or are you an area that's trying to protect and preserve your natural resources? Someone who takes a lot of pride in their forest, their water, and their climate. And once you've figured out exactly what you're trying to do, figure out how you can let your group function as a catalyst for change. You will be the group that works with your community to make these things happen. So let's talk a little bit more about where we go from here. How exactly do we get you started? One of the first things I recommend you do is you create a name for your organization. Something catchy, something that supports the morals and ideas and culture and personality of your community. One project I worked on was in Cookeville, Tennessee, and we created the Community Stewardship Project because it appropriately reflected the ideas and morals of the community. And once you've branded your effort, it's time to make outreach. Go back to the list you created at the beginning of this presentation that outlines a healthy cross-section of your community leaders, those from business, media, concerned citizens, and local and regional officials. Use that list to host committee member interviews. And when you're going through this interview process, look for people that have similar ideals and share the greater purpose of the group. Seek those that can also help you get things done, people with community clout or people with reputation. And it's important to find people that have the time to help. Beyond making outreach to members of the community, you also want to connect with the local government and find local resources or regional resources that are going to help you in your assessment of your local forest, water, climate conditions. Another key set of conversations that you want to have are with your local and regional resource groups. Groups like the Forest Service, the 4-H Club, state ecotourism initiatives, regional EPA, Fish and Wildlife, and any local nonprofits that may exist in your community. You also need to target some resources from the state. Your state Forest Service, your state Environmental Protection Agency or Department of Environmental and Conservation, your state Department of Economic Development, and also your state's Bureau of Tourism. One example is in the state of Tennessee, they had an initiative called Sustainable Tourism. And that group became a core focus for a project that we worked on, as I mentioned earlier, the Community Stewardship Project, because they were able to help us spread our message, build support on our local and regional level to support the conservation of forest, water, and climate in that region, because tourism was a very important component of that process. And once you've made this type of outreach and defined your group of stakeholders where you have resources and essentially your friends in this mission, it's time to take it live. It's time to plan for your first meeting, which I recommend identifying free meeting space in your community. Libraries, development districts, local businesses all have great conference rooms that make for great meeting space. And also determine a good time and place to discuss your program. Evenings, lunchtime, work with your group to find a good time that works for them. Also engage and invite the local media. Bring them in, let them know what you're doing, share. That way they can help you build support within the public. And also I recommend using a set of follow-up calls and RSVPs because it's very important as you get something launched that you make outreach and invite these people in and continue a set of active communication with them. And once you've done the due diligence of planning your meeting, it's time to host. A good flow for your first meeting is to go through introductions, talk about why you're there, work to establish a larger goal and a sense of objectives, establish a process for getting your work done, establish regular and frequent meeting times and location, build trust and a shared vision together, identify a place or point to rally around, a common goal, and determine exactly who you want to be for the community and what it is that you're working to accomplish. And once you've successfully hosted your first meeting, your next steps involve capturing your ideas and sending those out in minutes, reviewing your conversations that were had for ideas and direction, devising a plan to assess your vulnerabilities using your network of regional and local resources, and then tune back in for the next editions of Programs in a Box, where we'll walk you through a much more in-detail process of where you go in the assessment phase. And finally, to give you some perspective on the Program in a Box curriculum, we're currently at step 1, and we just helped you understand how to create a forest and water team. The next step will be assessing local forest and water risk, followed by determining solutions for local conditions. I want to thank you for tuning in to the MFPP Program in a Box Citizen-Led Initiatives. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me at will@mfpp.org.